Hey everybody, Cody Gelhausen here, half of the Bloker Joker podcast, here to do an impromptu YouTube video today for you folks about what's been going on in the world of football really over the past few days, and also a few picks for today's League Cup matches that are kicking off here in a few hours. Thank you so much, Pub Sports Radio, for letting me use your platform, put this video on. It's a bit impromptu, but I thought it's pretty important to get this news out there as far as how we've been doing as far as last weekend's picks goes. And as a fan of the sport and as a fan of sports in general, I think what happened in London last weekend at the Emirates was one of the more interesting and unique things that I've ever seen in sports. So I'm going to recap that as a fan of the team, as a fan of Arsenal, give you my input and my thoughts of really what went on and how we move forward as a team and a fan base. And I'll cover everything that happened if you're not in the loop. Maybe you don't watch football, but it's very interesting to say the least. After that, we're going to move on, cover match day 11 and the weekend at a glance. I've hardly looked at the lines. I'll go over them with you really for the first time. And then to finish it off, I wouldn't do a video without giving you guys some picks, to be honest. So we're going to give you a few picks for these League Cup matches that I just mentioned. And we'll go ahead and kick on. Like I said, I just want to recap last weekend at a glance. I ended the weekend 2-1-1 plus 1.2 units of profit. Matt hit his banker going 1-0 plus 2 units. Easy math. 3-1-1 on the weekend for the Bloker Joker podcast at plus 3.2 units. Again, another winning weekend. Pretty sure we've won every weekend bar. I don't know, we've won every weekend. We kept it on a roll. It's 10 straight match weeks of straight profit. Now, myself, this last weekend, let me just take a look. I'm not great at keeping my notes up to here. Last weekend, obviously, our first play of the week was the banker. Both teams to score, and over 2.5 goals for Southampton and Leicester. Not much to say about that, folks. A red card did us in early. The amount of goals Leicester scored is ungodly. I believe the heaviest away, tied for the heaviest away joint defeat that there's been in the Premier League. Interesting enough, the only other team to do it was Manchester United, and it was Kasper Schmeichel's father in that match, which is pretty interesting. So we lost that one. The other plays we had, we went to West Ham hosting Sheffield, under 2.5 goals. That hit. We were pretty lucky for that to hit, to be honest. I thought they were going to get that last goal. There's a lot of chances for West Ham to close out the match. Hey, we did it. Squid special, Burnley and Chelsea, that thing hit. I wasn't too worried. Like I said, Burnley is the kind of team that tends to get goals late in the match. They did that thing. They did that such thing on this one here. No issues hitting that one. Plus 220, 5-0 on the Squid special. And we played Newcastle Wolves, under 2 goals. Pretty lucky for that not to break. We broke even there, but I thought the third goal was coming. I really did, and that didn't happen as well. Pretty fortunate there, and that really closed out our weekend. Again, profit all around the board. Can't ask for much more than that. Great job to Matt, by the way, 1991 handicapper. He laid his play late in the weekend. He felt good about it. It hit. That's what he does. He's pretty good at laying those late bets, folks. He makes a lot of money doing that. So make sure you follow him on Twitter. Set your notifications. It's pretty important for him. Moving on. So I want to, like I said, touch base on what happened this last weekend in Arsenal. To recap the match, Arsenal was up 2-0. They scored on 2 set pieces off of corners. That's really the only place they're threatening the entire day. After that, literally, they didn't really have many chances whatsoever. No Lacazette, but a pretty close shot on goal. He was at a tough angle. Never really had a chance. So what happened after that? The 2-0 start, come out in the second half, penalty. Callum Chambers sticks his leg out, brings down Zaha in the box. Zaha has gotten the most penalty calls in the Premier League, I believe, since 2014 or 15. He's great at it. He seems to get us every time we play. And Mihailovic for Crystal Palace scored again against Arsenal. He scored, I believe, 4 penalties in the last 5 matches against us. That's just what he does. So that brought it 2-1. At that point, we're on the knife edge. We're on our heels. You know the second one's coming, and it did. With Xhaka marking on the wing, hands behind his back, didn't get in the face, allowed the cross to get off. Jordan Ayew was waiting at the far post. David Luiz was in no man's land. His awareness has been terrible all year. It continued here. Easy goal. Jordan Ayew levels it at 2-2. And this is where things get ugly, folks. Arsenal has not been very good under Unai Emery, to say the least. Goal scoring has been atrocious. Our style of play has been awful. It's been dull. And it really came to a boiling point when Unai Emery took off Granit Xhaka, our captain and our midfielder. When he came off the pitch, there was a lot of jeering from the crowd. Sarcastic applause was ringing around the stadium. Nothing too bad. But Granit Xhaka has been getting so much abuse from the fans that he absolutely hit his absolute limit. I mean, he started walking off. And folks, if you don't follow football too much or soccer, if you are at level at 2-2 in a match you should win, you never walk off the pitch. You get your ass off the pitch, get the other man on, and you carry on. Xhaka was walking off the pitch like it was the 90th minute sub and we're up a goal late in the game. You don't do that. You just do not do that. Once he started walking, the crowd turned and it was boos across the Emirates. It was absolute boos. And folks, this is our captain. Okay? Before I get into what Xhaka did, a captain in football is the most prestigious captain in any sport across the board. I know you have captains in the NFL, you have captains in hockey, but the captain in football is the centerpiece of your team inside of the pitch and then also outside. They represent your team on all levels. So what Granit Xhaka did when the crowd started booing him, he starts, waving his hands in the air like this, cupping his hands to his ears, and then he absolutely loses his shit. He tells the crowd to fuck off. He doesn't give birds, but he tells them to fuck off over and over, peels off his kit, takes the armband, throws it on the ground. Emirates is going mad. I mean, Lucas Torreira, one of our subs on the bench, is literally crying. Fucking pussy, but he's crying on the bench from seeing his captain treated this way. Now, this is just an embodiment of what Arsenal has been, in my opinion, since the late years of Arsene Wenger. It's all came to a head. I think I'm more so gonna blame Unai Emery for putting his captain out there, putting Xhaka out there week after week after 18 months of poor performances. He's just been a lightning rod for abuse. I've heard that a few times this week. He's a lightning rod for abuse, and it's honestly due to Unai Emery just leaving on the pitch week after week. But I must track back and say I wholeheartedly am the most disappointed in the Arsenal fans at the Emirates. I mean, the amount of abuse that Granit Xhaka has been getting, his wife has been getting, pregnant with a kid on Twitter, is unacceptable. I mean, absolutely unacceptable. He's a human being. People get lost in this in this day and age with obviously Twitter and social media. The amount of abuse and the vitriol of abuse hurled at players is awful, especially at Arsenal. I wholly believe we have the worst fans in the league. The worst when it comes to these things. I think it needs to be a major regroup. I think Xhaka should be stripped of the armband. I think he should absolutely be stripped. And then the fallout of all this is going to be even worse. What kind of player is going to want to come to a club that boos their players off the pitch? This isn't our first instance of this. Emmanuel Abui, I believe in 2006, was booed off the pitch by Arsenal. He started fucking crying while he's walking off. This isn't the first happenstance of us booing a player. And it doesn't happen anywhere else. Maybe Real Madrid, but who wants to be compared to Real Madrid's fan base? Not me. Nobody. And the fallout also reaches to a more urgent situation where Unai Emery came out directly after the match and said he shouldn't have done this. Granit Xhaka should not have done this. It's his fault. We're going to have a talk with him. Now, the players in the locker room love Granit Xhaka. He was elected by the players to be the captain. When you're throwing your captain under the bus, that does not look good. It doesn't look good. The players are upset with Emery for throwing out Xhaka. He should have backed him, maybe came at the fans a little bit, but Unai Emery has no spine. Unai Emery's not even going to strip the captaincy from him after saying those words. He's going to let the players vote on whether it should be stripped. Have some fucking leadership, Unai. Like that drives me up the wall. And that's really all I wanted to touch on. It's something you just don't see, the level of fans booing their team on the pitch, but also the player hitting back, saying fuck off, throwing the jersey down the ground, throwing the armband. It's disgraceful on all levels. The fans should be ashamed. The players should be ashamed. Unai Emery should be ashamed. And so should the board for letting it continue this far. Honestly, that's really all I'm going to say about that. We can carry on here to the upcoming weekend for the football matches. I'm just going to go ahead and pull it up. And like I said, to be honest, I have not looked really at any of these. I glanced over it yesterday when I got home. But besides that, nothing. So we'll just run down the list, give you a little bit of thoughts on what we're thinking here, and then we'll close it out with a few picks on these football league matches, which is really the main course here. But let's go ahead and take a look. First match, Bournemouth are going to host Manchester United. Bournemouth sitting at plus 0.25. Over under is 2.5 goals at Bournemouth. Honestly, folks, on this one, I think I would be more inclined to roll with the under 2.5 goals. The recent form of Bournemouth in their goal-scoring record has been atrocious. United on the road typically can sit in and hold it down pretty well. I would see a 1-0 United, maybe a 1-1 United match, but not over 2.5 goals. Brighton and Norwich. Norwich going into Brighton. They have terrible trouble scoring goals, absolutely trouble scoring goals. Brighton pretty good, actually, away from or at home at the MX. Line sits at, again, minus 0.75 to Brighton. Over under 2.75 goals. I would be on the under as well in that one. I think that's a 1-1 as well. Maybe a 2-0 to Brighton. I don't see Norwich getting a goal, and if they do, it's going to be a struggle. My Arsenal play on a Saturday for the first time since August, I believe, hosting Wolves. This is a must-win for Unai Emery, a must-win at the Emirates, or else, in my opinion, he's getting the sack. And I'm going to collect that $20 from Matt. Arsenal minus 0.75, over under 2.75 goals. Taking a look at this, I think I would take the juice on Wolves plus 1. I'm not sure what I get at that. I would imagine minus 135, minus 140. Could be a little worse than that, but I think that's where I'd be. I'd even be on the plus a half goal. I just think this Arsenal team is reeling so hard that they're going to really struggle in this match. Villa is going to host Liverpool at Villa Park. Plus 1.5 to Villa. Over under 3 goals. I'm probably going to play that over. Just looking at it now, I most likely will. I think Villa at home is going to get their goals. Liverpool away always score as well. Liverpool need to kind of regain that form in their goal-scoring ways. I know they got 2 against Tottenham, but I think it's this kind of match is looking at Liverpool scoring 3 alone. 3-1 to Liverpool there. City hosts Southampton for the second time this week. Poor Southampton getting drubbed 9-0 last week against Leicester, and then got to walk into the Etihad twice in a row today and on Saturday. Minus 2.75 to City, over under 4 goals. I would be more inclined to, honestly, this is tough. I would probably be on the over 4 goals. City by themselves alone will probably score 4 or 5. Southampton may be able to score one away. God, probably not, but I'm not going to touch that match. I don't like touching any sort of City match, in my opinion. West Ham v. Newcastle. Newcastle's going to go into West Ham, minus a half to West Ham. Slight favorites. Over, under 2.5 goals. That's probably where I'll sit at with the under. West Ham, I don't see winning 3-0. I think it's a 2-0. Newcastle will not score. Maybe West Ham win to 0. I'm going to have to take a look at that when it gets closer. West Ham win to 0 is probably your best bet here. West Ham win to 0. Let's go with that. Sheffield and Burnley. Burnley is going to go to Bramall Lane. I love Sheffield at home. I love them away. The Blades are my boys. Burnley come off the back of kind of a tough stretch here. You're looking at money line Sheffield plus 117. Over under 2.25 goals. Hard not to really sit on Sheffield here. Maybe in a pick'em. I'm not sure what a pick'em price would be. They're favored by minus 0.25 goals. I'm just to wait for that line to come out. I don't like that match very much. I could actually see both teams to score there as well. And over 2.5 goals. Maybe just both teams to score. I'm going to have to wait for these lines to move around a bit. Chelsea are going to go into Watford. They're favored by minus 0.75 goals. Chelsea are. Over under of 3. I'd be inclined to be on Chelsea minus 1. Just honest to God, minus 1. I just think Watford aren't good enough. This is not a spot where they're getting their first win. They struggle to score. Defensively, they've been a bit better. but Chelsea will overwhelm them. Chelsea is so good on the road. It could be another squid special spot for me, or maybe Watford can sneak a goal in, maybe a 3-1 to Chelsea, but I think your -1 is the best bet. Palace are going to host Leicester. Wow, this is going to be a good match, folks. I'm going to host them at Selhurst Park. Palace favorites. Leicester favorites at 0.25 goals. Over under 2.5. That's a play on an under for me. 2.5 goals. Leicester on the road, pretty good. Palace at home. They're going to shut the doors, park the bus, hope they get a point. Everton-Tottenham. We're looking at this as the last match of the weekend. In my opinion, this is a both teams to score and over 2.5 goal affair. I'm not sure what kind of odds I'll get on that, but that is exactly where I'll be. Interesting that it's at a pick'em. I would not touch Tottenham away. I would not touch them. I know they're starting to regain form. I didn't think they played too bad of a match last week against Liverpool, but alas, I wouldn't take them away. Both teams to score over 2.5 goals. That one looks juicy. I'll probably play that match as well. That really wraps up the card. I just want to give you guys a quick look on my thoughts. Maybe get your brain turning. Maybe gives you a little look and perspective on what you want to play. Again, podcast going to come out Friday, mid-morning, Eastern Standard Time. Wish I had Matt here to break it down, but we'll get to it tomorrow, or 2 days, I should say, and Thursday night. We'll break that card down. So really, the main event, folks, League Cup. A few matches today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches today, 3 tomorrow. I am much more inclined to play today's matches than tomorrow's. I'm still going to break down every single one. Some in depth, some not as in depth. First one, City hosting Southampton for the first time this week. Like I said, they have them on the weekend. Brutal run of games here for Southampton. I mean, who wants that? I would be on City as a lean, -2.5 goals, simply because Southampton are going to have to rotate their squad a bit. Manchester City's rotation, honest to God, I think could compete for the title in the league. Top 4 team easily on the rotating almost every position. They're going to roll out players that are just way too good, have way too much quality compared to Southampton. Their youth players are too good. Phil Foden's going to be out there. Look for him to really dominate this match. Over the last League Cup matches, Southampton won 4-0 at Portsmouth at Fratton Park, who are just a dreadful side. They also beat Fulham 1-0 at Craven Cottage. Pretty good results there, especially going to Craven Cottage and getting points. Fulham have been pretty good this year, and to shut them out, it's pretty impressive, to be honest. City with the rotated side beat Preston North End 3-0 away. Preston, a classic English team, had just no chance. So that's really all I got. So Southampton, it was shocking to me, 20-1 to win this match. 20-1. That is outlandish for 2 Premier League sides in a League Cup match. I just thought that was interesting. But lean City -2.5 goals here. Next one is Burton Albion, 13th in League One versus Leicester at Pirelli Stadium, going to Albion. The Foxes are. I was so close to making this a play, so close. But I lean Leicester -1.5 goals at -112. Leicester are really good away. Really good away. Scoring 9 goals in their last 6 away from home, and that is not counting the Southampton affair, because that's a skewed result. 18 and 7? It's ridiculous. So 9 in the last 6 away, bar Southampton. Burton have been shut out in 2 of their last 4 home matches. They are in a terrible rut as far as scoring the ball goes. I really would like to see the lineups here to be released in about 2 hours, and I may take a stab at it. Make sure you check it out on Twitter. First play of the day, Oxford United, 5th in League One versus Sunderland, 8th in League One. I am going to go ahead and play Oxford on the money line at home at Cassim Stadium. Oxford United have won 5 straight home matches and haven't lost at home in 7 straight. And God, they're scoring goals. In those 5 home matches they've won, 15 goals. 15 goals. They're scoring 3 on average over the last 5 at home. I mean, folks, they're on fire. They're a goal-scoring machine. They're really knocking on the door to move up to the championship next year. Sunderland, on the other hand, have lost 3 straight away matches and scored 0 in 3 straight. I think Oxford are going to romp them. You can get a line at plus 162. I'm going to take it. Lock it in. First play of the day. Next one is my second play of the day to close out today's matches. Crawley Town versus Colchester at the People's Pension Stadium. What a name of a stadium, People's Pension. My play here is the over 2.5 goals at plus 111. For the last 6 meetings between these two sides have seen over 2.5 goals and also both teams to score. Honestly, I looked through all my books. I couldn't get over 2.5 and both teams to score. I could not get it. I can only get the over 2, which I didn't like the juice there. But I'm comfortable taking plus odds at over 2.5 goals. You got to take what you can get, folks. Crawley, one of the worst defensive teams in the league, but also one of the best scoring teams in the league in League Two. Both of these teams are in League Two. They played just a few weeks ago. I believe it was a 2-1 affair. We're looking for more of the same here. I think Crawley actually got the best of them a couple weeks ago as well. So that's my second play. Over 2.5 goals, plus 111. The 3 matches for tomorrow, I don't really like, to be honest. I don't like big dogs playing each other in the League Cups. You don't know really what you're going to get. Arsenal-Liverpool, I lead under 3 goals just because Liverpool's rotated defense is so good. They'll probably have Milner out there with Lovren, Gomez, and Hover at the other fullback position. That's too good for the young attacking players of Arsenal. I just don't think Martinelli, Emile Smith-Rowe, and Saka will do much against an experienced back line like that. Maybe you can see Martinelli against Hover get some work done. I think that's a pretty good matchup for him, but outside of that, not really loving it, especially Ozil playing in behind him, which I think he finally will get a look. I hope so. He needs it. I just don't see much there for Arsenal. I don't see Liverpool's offense going too far forward. They're going to play the youngest of young boys on offense. And actually, in our cup matches, Arsenal's defense has been good. You're going to see Mustafi, Holding, and most likely Hector Bellerin at fullback, probably Kolasinac. That's fair. Tierney, no way Tierney plays. No way he plays a third match in a week. Not happening. Especially it's a cup match, Liverpool. Fuck it. Next one, Aston Villa hosting Wolves. I literally have nothing on this match. If I had to go anywhere, under 2.5 goals, minus 119, just because Villa tend to be pretty decent at home defending. Wolves pretty bad on the road as far as scoring goals have been. So that's where I'd be. Not much more on that. The Wolves can't really rotate their side too heavily. Villa can throw in a lot of youngsters. That's pretty much where I'm at. And a pretty nice match to wrap things up. Chelsea versus Manchester United. If I had to go anywhere on this, I'd be on the money line Chelsea minus 116. They're just so in form. Winning 7 on the bounce. United tend to struggle to score on the road. I believe in the Chelsea youth in depth more than I believe in United's. Chelsea have all these loan players they cycle in and out every single year, where United are literally playing their youth players in the Premiership, putting them on the bench. Could work out for them. I don't think so. I think Frank's going to have them up for this one, continue their winning ways, and that will wrap up the League Cup this week. Again, just to recap, folks, thank you for listening in. My plays, Oxford on the money line, plus 162. Also taking over 2.5 goals at plus 111, Crawley Town versus Colchester. Thank you, everybody, for listening again. Thank you, Pub Sports Radio, for the platform. Good luck today, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you.